Valve has been doing this thing called Steam NextFest, and it's a chance for developers to put their demos out into the world and get some feedback. And obviously, it's a chance for us to play some games that are coming down the pipeline. There are a ton of demos to try out, so I had to pick the ones that I was most excited about, games that I've been looking forward to, and now I'm ready to talk about them.
Yeah, you're dizzy. Oh, a roundhouse kick to the chest.
Raw Metal is a game where you play as what I think is a thief who steals a bunch of stuff and then they have to escape using an elevator. The idea is that you're invisible in every shadow, but if you get caught, you have to fight your way out of that situation, and if you lose, then you lose your run. All the gear that you collected is now gone. So the stakes are pretty high, and if you can manage to get out, then you've added to your gear, you've added to your currency, and now you can expand your espionage skills. This is similar to Lethal Company, where you've got to loot and then leave, but there aren't any giant bugs. Instead, you're fighting armed guards. And while you're not really supposed to get caught, it is kind of fun to fight in this game. Combat's simple, but it does involve you stun locking your enemies and trying to get the most out of combos. And if you get outnumbered, that is a tough situation to be in, but the guards can hit each other, which is also kind of cool. And it's very easy to get greedy in this game. You know, you're running through the area, you're getting all your stuff, you're finding keys, you're finding storage lockers, you're finding new items, and you're like, what more can I get? And you can't get too greedy because there's a weight meter at the bottom of the screen, and I never filled it up, but I'm sure that it makes you move slower and it makes it harder to escape. I saw this game at PAX 2023 and the line was long for it, and now I know why. It was a lot of fun to play. And hopefully the demo stays up after NextFest. I'll put the links to every game in the description below, so check those out, and if the demo link is still alive, then you're in luck.
No! There's 4 of them. Now there are none of them.
Next up, I tried a game called Pepper Grinder, and I've talked about Pepper Grinder on the channel before. It's a side-scroller where you play as a girl with a gigantic drill. She takes that drill, she takes it through sand, and you're essentially swimming through dunes of sand filled with money. And the whole point of the game is to get back your riches that were stolen from you because you washed up next to them on a beach. I have to keep that in mind. Next time I wash up on a beach and if there's a giant treasure chest next to me, it's mine, I earned it. It's a 2D platformer, but really it's all about getting into a groove with the drill and jumping from dune to dune and area to area. There's a bunch of secrets to find, and there's always that one item that's like just out of reach, and you just can't help but think, I could totally get that coin. And just from the demo and the way all these levels are laid out, you can tell that the level design really celebrates the way this drill works. There are elevators powered by the drill, there are landmines that you have to avoid, there's one part of the demo that features panels that open and close depending on which angle you hit them from, and there's those optional pickups that I mentioned that really are a fun way to make the game more challenging on the spot. You don't have to get that coin, but you want it. Overall, Pepper Grinder is one of those games that looks exactly like I hoped it would play, and I'm very excited to play the final product.
Whoa, okay. That was cool.
Realm of Ink is an isometric roguelike action game. And I'm just gonna say this right now, if you've played Hades, this game is gonna look really familiar. And just from the demo alone, between the 3 weapons that you have access to and the slew of different perks that are available, I can tell that this game has a lot going for it when it comes to customizing your build on the run. It's got that roguelike thing where you think, what else do I need to flesh this out? What can I use? And then you find that perfect item, and then suddenly everything explodes. And of course, build crafting does hinge a lot on randomness, but that doesn't mean it's not fun, because at its core, the combat is extremely enjoyable. You're dodging out of the way, you're mastering your combo techniques. Every weapon so far has a different flow to it, so the gameplay is very different depending on what you choose. The only quirky thing that I've run into so far, and this was just in the tutorial, is that the game's got Chinese voiceovers, which is awesome, but then you've got English subtitles, which is also awesome. However, reading those during action sequences was very difficult. So the combat feels tight, but the boss fights are also very cool and very learnable, which I appreciated. My favorite kind of boss fights, even if I lose, are the ones that I feel like I probably could have done better if I learned their patterns. That's when you know that there's something there that you can work with. So just based on the demo, I'm excited to play more of this game. I don't know when it's coming out, but I know it's gonna be sometime in 2024. And while these are all games that are coming out on Steam and PC, I really hope this game comes out on Nintendo Switch.
Oh my gosh, my car is not moving at the speed that I need it to move.
Pacific Drive is another game that I've talked about on this channel before, and it also lived up to the expectations that I placed on it. In Pacific Drive, you are driving through the apocalypse, which is actually shape-shifting realities that you're trying to navigate through and not also be shape-shifted within. And you've got a car that is actually alive and it can survive these areas for a limited amount of time. So your goal is to use the car and get from A to B find new items, and then get the heck out of there before reality folds in on itself on top of you. It's got a very otherworldly feel about it, and I actually wasn't really expecting it to feel as creepy as it does. You can see pockets of reality bending around you, things are floating in the air. It's a very surreal experience, and I enjoyed it a lot. Even if there's no immediate threat, it just does not feel good to stay idle in this game. I thought it would be a lot to juggle the car's maintenance as well as crafting, but they really worked it out such that it just feels natural. Sometimes you'll stop in an area and you'll literally have to craft a new tool so you can loot the area successfully. So there's a lot of preparation you can do on each run, but there's also a lot of on-the-spot things that you have to do to make sure you can keep going. It was just this constant forward motion of making sure I can gather things while also not losing time. And the demo only featured a little bit of the storytelling, but I can already tell that it's been really well written. The characters have a lot of personality, they all sort of don't like each other, and you can hear in their voices that they're all really stressed and also used to the scenario that the world is in. Fixing the car and the mechanics around repairing it are a lot more intuitive than I expected them to be, and they really pulled it off. And the car, while it does handle like a station wagon, feels pretty cool to drive. There are moments in between areas that it's sort of nice to just take in the sights and see what's going on with the world around you. It's by no means a comfortable drive because there are things bending in and out of existence, but it's pretty cool. And as of this recording, this game is coming out in a couple of weeks from now, so I'm very excited to give it a shot. And then I played a game called Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip, which is about a little blue dude who's got crazy weird eyes, and everybody in the world that he's in has crazy weird eyes. Terry's only goal is to get a car so that he can drive to space. And very few people question him nearly enough on this mission, but you know what? I appreciate that kind of support in your neighbor. If I turned to my neighbor right now and I said, I want to drive my car to space, they'd have me committed. But everybody in Sprankletown's just on board, and they're also all equally strange. In the demo, all you can really do is collect some resources around the world, meet some of the game's characters, and drive around. And once you collect 150 of the turbo junk that lie around the city, the demo literally ends. But all the exploring in Sprankletown, which is where this game is set, and all the junk collecting did give me a good feeling of the game's controls. And this has the makings of a solid open world platformer with a lot of personality. At the beginning of the demo, they also go out of their way to say that this is an open world experience so you can explore and enjoy the content in any order that you like. And I'm sure in the final game that there's going to be a lot more to do, a lot more mini games, and a lot more things to collect. So just based on this demo alone, I'm pretty excited for Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip to come out sometime later this year. So I know this video goes up after NextFest is finished, but that doesn't mean the demos are all gone. And again, make sure you check the description because I linked each of these games in my description, and there's a good chance that those demos are still up for you to try. If there were any demos that you liked during Steam NextFest, let me know in the comments, because I'm sure that there are some games that I missed and I'd love to know which ones you're excited about. If you liked the video, make sure you like the video, and if you want to see more of this and games that I like to enjoy and share, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. Because if I have a thought on video game stuff, then this is where it's going to wind up. But of course, thank you very much for watching my video, and I will see you in the next one.